I've been working with and testing the Jackery HomePower 3600 Plus for a little while now, and I even took it up to my cabin to just run the refrigerator for a weekend to see how well it did, because frankly, the refrigerator uses probably more power than anything else. And that was really a prelude to what I really wanted to do, which was to find out if I could actually run my entire cabin on just the Jackery HomePower 3600 Plus. Would it take the place of my entire system out at my cabin and run it no problem? And that's what I intended to do. So first, let me do a quick rundown on the Jackery. Now this is a 3,584 watt hour unit with a 3,600 watt inverter that can peak or surge peak at 7,200 watts. It's capable of allowing you to parallel two of these units together and add their extra batteries to give you a total of 20 kilowatts of backup power. It can also do 240 volts when you parallel two together. It has a 30 amp plug like you would use for an RV or a generator, plus four 20 amp 120 volt plugs that are 2,400 watts each with a max of 3,600 watts combined. It also has two USB-A and USB-C ports and two solar inputs that it rates at 500 watts each for a total of 1,000 watts. Though you're going to find that you can actually get more than 500 watts on one of those ports. A little snippet of what's about to happen. In any case, that's your basic unit. It's got some wheels. It's got a nice handle that allows you to pull it around because it does weigh just over 77 pounds. So let's find out what happened. I jumped into my truck early on Friday and took off for the 4.5 hour drive to get up to the cabin. And I had a few friends going with me at the same time because we've got some other things in mind that we're going to do. We're not just going to go to the cabin and run the Jackery and sit around and do nothing all weekend. No, we've got some plans. We've got some slash to burn. We've got some logs to buck up for firewood. We've got logs to move to a log deck. We've got all kinds of stuff. So come along for the ride. Let's get this Jackery hooked up, find out if it'll run the whole cabin all weekend long. And while we're at it, we'll have a little fun, get some work done, have a great weekend. So let's get to it. What we're going to do is we're going to take my power cord that feeds from the inverter to the cabin power, and I'm just going to wire nut an extension cord to it. Yes, I know that's not the way you should do things, but that's what we're going to do today for this weekend, just to try it out. And then we're going to plug that in to the Jackery down there. Let me get this done here. I'm going to set the camera down. We'll get her done. All right, folks, the inverter is completely off. Don't mind my backwoods wiring. I just took the wires that I had run to the inverter and I just wired them into a heavy extension cord and then plug that into the Jackery down here. The Jackery is at 100%. All right, folks, so now we're running off the Jackery. That means that the generator is getting a charge. See my battery, look at that, 14. So we're getting a charge, 14.1, it's going up, so that's good. So that is running off of the Jackery. The big mission now, of course, is to get moved into the cabin, get it warmed up. Doug and Lance are gonna get their tent set up, and then we're gonna have a good weekend. So the fridge is on. It's so cold. It doesn't really need to even be on right now because it was only 40 degrees in here when we got here. So now we just got to get moved in and get the wood stove going and enjoy the weekend. Will the Jackery HomePower 3600 Plus be enough to run my essentially 600 square foot cabin with an electric refrigerator and my lights and everything for the entire weekend, as well as keeping the generator battery charged up? Can it do it? Is that enough to run for the whole weekend? We're about to find out. Meanwhile, it was time to burn slash, buck up some logs, get some work done, and frankly, just enjoy the weekend, because honestly, folks, what I love to do most is spend time out at the cabin, out in the woods, bucking up logs, which right now I can't do, so Doug's doing it for me. But you know, burn slash, do some shooting, just enjoying the outdoors. And I had a neighbor up there working on my foundation, and I'll be bringing you more about that in the near future. But let's keep going. Looking good, making progress, eh?
Getting there.
All right, folks, we've been running the cabin now for over 20 hours on the Jackery, and it's down to 48%. And I did not bring solar panels out here with me, but what I'm doing is I've gone ahead and I've tied two MC4 to ring terminals into my main battery bus bars, positive and negative, and run those into the solar input cable that goes into the Jackery to simulate solar. And I'll give it 2 to 3 hours and then shut it down to simulate what I would get for charging right now. Well, it's been a couple hours. We'll go in and we'll check the Jackery, see where it's at. We've been getting 588 watts or so. Now the whole cabin is running on the Jackery, so it's using all the power that I would normally use. All right, here we go. Let's see what we've used here so far. Almost 1200 watt hours so far. Almost 22 hours, 1200 watt hours. Oh, look at that, folks. 627 watts coming in on a 500 watt input. Not bad, not bad at all. You can absolutely get more power, and that's because I'm hitting it with over 28 volts. I'm well within the parameters of the solar input, and yet we're getting 628 watts, and we're sitting at 73%. So if I give it one more hour, we should be pretty close to 100%. All's well. All right, let's get out of here. Sun is kind of spotty, but it's definitely up there. All right, we're building up a log deck right here. So we've got all those logs and now these logs to mill. It was Halloween yesterday. So with Halloween, you know, I had to bring some Halloween candy out with us just to have something to snack on. You know, come on, it's Halloween. Getting a lot of slash burn. Doug's been running my big saw. I've learned to leave it alone. So he's been bucking all the logs that were up here. Everything that's too thin for milling is getting turned into firewood. So we got a bunch of firewood rounds here. They're 42 inches roughly. So we'll just buck those into firewood. Beautiful day. Got the range here. We're gonna set up some targets here in a while and do a little shooting, I think. So there you have it, folks. My cabin used 2,648 watt hours total power during the entire weekend. The Jackery also used about 50% of that, bringing the total up to right about 4,000 total watt hours of power consumed from Friday afternoon to Sunday afternoon. Now, it's important to remember that the inverter on these units also use power, and while they may just sip the power at 8 to 10 watts during an idle, they can use considerably more than that when they're actually providing power to something downstream. Now, I've got to tell you, with my buddies there, we were up until 11 o'clock on Friday night, so all the lights and everything on, and kept the cabin warm, so the refrigerator had to actually run a little more. And then on Saturday night, we were up until just after midnight as well. And again, you've got the lights on, you've got the wood stove going, so the refrigerator's got to run more. We charged up phone batteries and drone batteries and other things while we were there as well. So we weren't shy on using power. I would tell you that if you're looking to get one of these for an outage at home and you're not planning on running your house on it for several days in a row, yeah, these would absolutely do that. But it's not going to run your air conditioning or your heat pump for a long time. Not unless you use the expansion capabilities and get it up to 20 kilowatt hours and then put maximum solar on it at the same time, because air conditioning units use quite a bit of power. But if you've got an efficient mini split or something like that, and you've got at least 1,000 watts of solar going into it, and it looks to me like you could put a little more and over panel it a little bit, you could do that as well. But as far as running a cabin or running through some short blackouts, This unit can do it in spades. I'm really impressed with it. It worked great. I'm super happy with that. We had a great weekend, so that was awesome. Meanwhile, I'm going to throw another video right up over here for you to check out, and I want to thank all of my members for being here and supporting the channel, so thank you very much for that. Thanks for watching, folks. You all have a great day. The old Jarhead out.